live on social media with the Puppet Podcast. Hey, good evening, everyone. Welcome to the show. Tonight, I'm so glad because we travel not so far, but we go west on Ontario side. So we will have Lindsay Lee and Justin T. Lee. Yoo-hoo! So just before we go into the interview, you know how I could be enthusiastic about puppetry. So I want to let you know that we organize something really cool on our Patreon platform. So if you don't know the address, it's pretty simple. Patreon is basically a website who make the opportunity of artists to share their art and share tools and stuff. So it's the Puppet Podcast Patreon community. But what we have soon coming, it's a workshop about the basic of ventriloquism, like the ventriloquist style form of puppetry. We have the wonderful Satyajit, who is an Indian puppeteers, ventriloquist, like comic guy, really funny, and he's a pro. We have done like Indian Got Talent, like so it's so big over there, and it's funny that we get the chance to connect with him with the podcast and now with the workshop. So I really invite everyone to join us. It's on, like, it will be in the morning because in India the time zone is so different. So we will have him 10 East time, but for Europe it will be accessible. It will be the afternoon, and over there will be the evening. So that's my little commercial about Patreon and our next workshop who's coming. And we're planning some other good stuff. So we will let you know. So stay tuned. So that was the commercial. But I want to let you know that during the interview, because we are live, we really like to have some comments going around. So if you are there, you are watching, just say hi, say hello. I'm watching from wherever you are in the world, and we will be really happy to have some news and see that we do this for great people. So amazing. So now let's go to the interview. So everyone, they have done something amazing, but I don't want to ruin the punch. They launching some video stuff. So, but yeah, let me introduce them. Please drum roll for Lindsay and Justin.
Hello!
Hi, everybody. Hi,
Hello.
Caroline.
Hello.
Thank you for having us
Thanks
on
for
the show.
having us.
So cool. I'm so excited because you are about to launch a kind of a masterpiece of work.
No, I mean, it's a web series. It's a kid series. It's a brand new kid series that we've been working on for
2 years.
I mean, in some ways, it's 4 years. We've
Yeah.
been working on it for 4 years, because we started filming bits of it 4 years ago.
Yeah.
But first of all, thank you for that introduction.
Yes.
What an introduction! We got a drum roll and
I know.
everything.
And as you can tell, everybody, we're in our car.
We're in our car.
That's the glamorous life of
Yeah.
people who make puppet TV.
Because we would have done it from our little workshop, but there's no internet signal in there. So we just drove out until we could get internet signal.
Here we are. With our puppet in
Yeah.
tow.
Miikshi is wearing a seatbelt. Yeah.
Safety first.
Yeah.
So you have the star behind of your web series, and it's so cool to see her in real also. And
she's like in darkness in the background. Yeah.
Yeah, she have her little light. It's so cool. So yeah, Justin and Lindsay, could you introduce yourself? I always like this exercise, that to have the puppeteer introduce his career, where he's from, and how he fall into puppetry. So maybe you can do for both of you. What is the way?
Well, we're Lindsay and Justin Lee, and we own a small TV film production company in Toronto called Gazelle Automations. For those of you who are Thunderbirds fans, and I know there's a lot in Quebec, you will recognize that name from a Thunderbirds episode.
I was gonna say we stole it, but it was like we're paying homage. This is what it is. It's a little kind of tip of the hat to that, because that's what we were doing our first big puppet job was making new episodes of Thunderbirds in England. And again, French Canada probably knows it as Les Sentinelles de l'Air. I think that's what it's called. So yeah, we were making 3 new episodes, and that was in 2015. But we were doing it like all 1960s style. It was like old school. The
original style.
So puppets and models and pyrotechnics. And we had some of the original crew with us. So one of the original puppeteers was with us, and she was kind of showing us how they used to do it in the 60s.
She was 80 years old.
She was 80 years old, or I think over 80.
Over 80, yeah.
And so that was our first big professional proper puppet gig, I think. Was it?
Yeah. It was. And then we came back to Canada, and that's when we started our company, Gazelle Automations. And what we do is TV and film productions, specifically featuring puppets and model miniatures. So the show that's coming out on Monday, it's called Miikshi. And it stars Miikshi. She's a shy sheep scientist. And it does in a way pay homage to Thunderbirds in the sense that there are vehicles and real tangible set pieces, rockets taking off with real pyro, things like that. So that's sort of our company's wheelhouse, in terms of what we do.
At least so far. We're doing some new projects that are a little different, but that's kind of with puppets and tangible filmmaking. I think that's it, and a lot of small things. Everything's at a small scale. We don't really work at full scale.
No.
That's perfect, because with camera you can zoom and really play on the, in French it's échelle, but the scales.
And I mean, that is the interesting thing about Thunderbirds that I think people respond to is that on screen it looks so big, and then you see it. I brought I went to the OOF festival
in Montreal. The last time you were there was in 2021.
Yeah.
I had a lot of people come up. So I brought some of our Thunderbirds puppets with me, and I had a lot of people come up and say, "Whoa, I didn't realize they were so small." Because
they expected them to be bigger, right?
Because how big they are? It's kind of
what, 2 feet?
2 feet.
2 feet tall.
Okay.
Yeah. Something like this.
Okay.
Yeah.
But it's not. Yeah, as you said, it's nice when you can't really tell. You can really play with the scale, and something that's really tiny can look really big, right? With a wide lens and shooting it from low. So that's kind of
what we strive to do. I mean, we were inspired by that appeal. And so all the our Miikshi and our new projects, that's kind of what we try to achieve on camera.
That's so cool, because puppetry is so good for camera. But let me ask you those deep questions of the Puppet podcast. I want to know things, and it's always the same question, but I feel they are deep and fundamental. So I want to know the why, like what makes the art of puppetry, maybe with film for you, how this art form is an art that you cherish.
I think it's because when you watch something with puppets on a screen, especially the stuff that I think we respond to, everything is created from nothing. It's not like you can just go out and film something. It's like the puppet is created, the performance is created, the environment is created. Every part of what you're seeing is a construction. And there's something really fascinating about seeing something that's entirely fabricated, right? The Jim Henson Dark Crystal series that came out, what was that, 2 years ago?
Age of Resistance.
Age of Resistance. Every single thing on screen is created from nothing, right? And that's so exciting and interesting to us to see I mean, there's all sorts of types of puppetry, of course, and we have great admiration and we enjoy all kinds of puppetry, but seeing the kind of where everything is created, this big world is created, and it might even be like little tiny in real life, right?
And just how different elements of film production can support that. So how you light it, how you shoot it, and
definitely how you perform the puppets. The fact that you can I think because you can, when you're shooting something on film, and of course, Caroline, you know this because you're largely a theater puppeteer, right? So
Yes.
like when you're performing the puppet, the audience is very far from you. So you know, the way you're performing the puppet is so that it translates to the audience. Whereas when we perform puppets, it's sometimes really, you know, close up on their face. So it might be that all we need to do is just tilt the head just a little bit, or just have them react very slightly to sell something. You mix that with some music.
Yeah, mix it with some music, with some lighting, with some production elements.
And how the other characters are reacting to them. So
and all of a sudden you have emotion coming out of the character.
Even though they're not doing anything. Like her face isn't moving, you know, like it's just but just a little bit of something, right? Yeah.
This is so amazing because I feel you have this precision of TV stuff, like, and it's the same for acting. Like, you know, actor have to be really in not inside, but like really know his part of, like, and not playing so much like big theater or so.
Right.
Yeah, there is a subtlety to television puppetry in particular that is different to theater. And just has different challenges, but also it's an interesting way to embody a character when you have to be so subtle, when you can't necessarily rely on a big gesture.
Yeah, you're not doing this ever. You're not like, oh, you know, sometimes it's just the puppet looks down a little, and then the music's a little sad, and the sunlight coming through the window is a bit sad, and you know, that's kind of the way you can do it.
It's so interesting. I love that. And let me ask you about your crush moment for puppetry. Do you have like an anecdote of like something you observe in life or in a show or on TV that said, okay, I want to do this?
I know what yours was.
Yeah, you know what mine was. Obviously Sherry Lewis. I was a huge Lamb Chop fan as a kid, and
speaking of ventriloquism,
so I tried my own ventriloquism when I was a kid.
I feel like every kid who watched Sherry Lewis must have tried to do it.
When I found out she was actually doing the voice and she wasn't moving her mouth, I was just like, what?
Yeah.
But that was definitely a moment for me where I was just enamored with those characters, and actually I watched it again as an adult. And like little things I remembered about it that obviously stuck in my head, like the way Lamb Chop sometimes would use her legs to kind of like fold her legs in, and you know how much character that gave her. And I remember
the performance was so
subtle,
but full. It was like she could do whatever she needed to do, and Sherry Lewis is right next to her, doing the voice, doing the performance, and you don't, you know, Did you watch this as a kid too, Caroline? Did you watch Sherry Lewis?
No, because it was part of the English TV, so I'm so like I was watching maybe French comic stuff like in Quebec area, but I saw on YouTube her and I Googled her to know.
Did you watch ventriloquists on TV when you were a kid?
Yeah. And it's funny because we had in Quebec a stand-up comedy guy who was doing puppetry at this, but he was like covering his mouth behind the puppet because he wasn't able to do ventriloquism. But it was kind of fun too to see puppet on screen with a lot of humor and stuff.
Yeah, definitely.
And actually,
I know what yours is.
Well, no, that's a good point because we had a lot of French Canadian puppetry in Toronto and Ontario
that was dubbed into English.
And of course, when you're 4 years old or 5 years old, you don't notice that the mouth isn't matching. So of course they changed all the dialogue to English, and I always thought that they were English shows, right? If you watch them now, you can clearly see that they were like French shows that were dubbed into English. But one of them that I don't even remember what the French name of it is. It's called Kitty Cats in English.
Yeah.
And we watched that a lot, right?
There were 3 cats. There were
puppets. 3 cats and a bird. Oh, no, 2 cats, a dog, and a bird. And they all lived in a backyard together.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah. It's in French. It's Pacha et les chats.
Yes.
Yeah, but it was in Quebec. They shoot it in Montreal.
Right.
Yeah, I think we found that out later,
Yeah,
much later.
way
in life.
later, way later.
Oh,
Yes.
no, I had no idea.
Yeah, I again as a kid, I just thought it was,
Me too.
the same thing with like Inspector Gadget. I thought
Yeah.
that was English.
Professor Iris.
Professor Iris, I thought was
Yeah,
English. You probably saw
yeah.
that too, right?
Yeah.
I think the name.
I think it was the same name.
in
Yeah,
French. Yeah.
Professor Iris.
Iris.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So we watched all those shows, and there was such a wonderful offering of puppet TV when we were growing up. There were
Yeah.
so many imaginative shows that starred puppets and did all the things that we described about, close-ups and subtle performance and all that kind of stuff.
But yeah, Lamb Chop sticks out for me just in terms of just how full that character was.
Yeah.
Like just and the connection between her and Sherry Lewis. Like that was just the way that they played off of each other.
Yeah.
Was just incredible.
Yeah.
And from anything that when I was growing up, whether it was Thunderbirds, which was a huge one for me, but any of those ones where you saw everything on screen was created, right?
Yeah.
There was an art department making little chairs. There was, sculptors sculpting faces. There were puppeteers doing the performance, and everything was created.
Yeah.
That was just so fascinating to me to see something that you somehow, even my kid brain knew that it wasn't real, right? It was like a little truck and a little puppet, but it just all looked like it was real.
Yeah. We have this belief muscle going up.
Totally.
So we have a fan watching. We have Rubina.
Hi, Rubina.
Oh, hey, Robin. What did she say?
She said she was thinking of you, Lindsay.
Oh, actually,
Yeah.
I'm thinking of you
She
too.
missed the intro.
Oh,
Where on earth are you guys?
Robin and I went to OOF together. That's
in this car.
In this car.
Yeah. Every year you would go together.
Yeah.
So you, Caroline, you probably walked by both of them without.
Oh yeah.
I
Robin
think
has some gorgeous stuff on display. She makes sock monkeys, and she does paper puppets, and she's got some huge puppets that she would bring every year. So.
She's a very talented puppeteer as well.
And
and really, really beautiful builder.
Yeah, we have done an Halloween show with Rubina also.
See, you know her.
On the podcast. Yeah, but she's really cool. Here we have also Vanessa who is watching the show. Yeah.
Oh, hey Michael. Michael, Robin and I do puppetry together, so yay!
Yes, a shout out to Vanessa. Thank you so much for sitting in, and we hope that this is interesting.
Yes, it's interesting.
You're doing a fantastic job. We just hope we're keeping up with you.
You are amazing. I want to ask you also the field of study, because I know, Justin, you have studied special effect, visual effect, but Lindsay, what is the best field of study to fall into puppetry, or maybe for you, like to do TV puppetry, shooting set, and all of that?
We met at Ryerson.
Both of us went to school for
radio and television in Toronto. But I mean, I think that puppetry, the beautiful thing about it is it's one of those things that even if you've studied something completely different, every puppeteer brings their own background and experience to the art form. And I don't actually think it matters.
Yeah,
what you study necessarily. It's just if you have a desire to perform a puppet, do it.
And right before we went live, you were talking about how you started as a figure skater first, then you went and did theater, then you did puppetry. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I have terrible seasonal allergies, and I've been sneezing all day today. So please excuse me if I'm blowing my nose on camera, but
no, like your background in figure skating, that's a performance art. And I think perhaps I did do theater before, while I was in university, and before that, and there's obviously a connection there, but I think it's just it is cool actually to hear where puppeteers come from, where they start, because it's always different.
Our friend Gord Robertson, who's he started out in mime, and his dream was to be like a famous mime artist. Him and his troupe of mime, he had two friends with him, and then they got hired by Jim Henson, and then they became puppeteers.
Yeah.
Like that was just kind of because they were looking for a group of puppeteers that could perform together, and they did that very well because they were a mime troupe. They like could feed off each other's energy.
Yeah.
And then it just completely changed his course. And now he's, if everybody knows Gord's work because he was Zaboomafoo.
Yeah.
He was
Fraggle Rock.
he was on Fraggle Rock, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. He's done everything.
Also, no.
When he helped us on our show, he did. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, like he helped us on our show. So
he actually helped us with some performance coaching.
Yeah,
which was really
but I love his story that he pictured that he was going to be this famous mime, and then he went into puppeteering. Yeah.
That's interesting because it's different path, but I feel the community is really open to different approach and different background. So the welcoming aspect is really something that many guests name, and it's good to put it on camera and say, okay, we welcome people. Let's go. Come on.
From everywhere. And every puppeteer we meet, they've come from somewhere else, like you, like us, like everybody. They all kind of get there some different way.
But you're right, the community, because it's like immediately you have something in common, so it does feel like a very supportive community.
We're all weirdos.
We're all weird.
Like really in the best way, in the best possible way.
Best way.
Yeah.
Yes. So here again, we have some comment of the audience. We have Vanessa who say, so proud of you.
Thank
and
you.
David also. You guys are awesome.
Hey, Dave. There you go. Everyone's watching us. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Yeah.
We really
Puppets.
Puppets.
Yeah.
And my terrible seasonal allergies, which I was like, I hope I can make it through the call without having to like sneeze or something, but we'll see how we're doing.
Yes. But let me ask you about your goals, because you launched this web series. I want to know also for the future, do you have some goals that you have envisioned for the future?
Yeah.
Do we?
Well, yeah. Well, I think actually, as we were talking about with you before this call, our company specializes in puppets and model miniatures and action props, and I think our goal is actually just to keep making stuff like that.
We're currently developing a new show with CBC Kids right now, which is exciting. So it's you never know in TV when people are in development, it may never turn into a show, but at least right now we are developing a show with them. And it's all done with puppets and models and practical effects, and
it's great because I think we really believe that audiences respond to that sort of thing. I know there's a lot of content now that is not tangible filmmaking, but we really respond to it. We remember being kids.
You mean if you can watch it and you could almost feel like you could touch it? That's something that people
play with it. Yeah, and that's something we really have always responded to, and we're excited that at the moment, the broadcaster we're working with is also on board with this method.
For the new show, but it's funny. Like this is like Miikshi's coming out on Monday, and we keep talking about it.
I know.
No, but we're really excited about Miikshi.
Yeah.
And
I think Miikshi
we hope people really like it. It's I think it's got a lot of. We had a really, really wonderful crew. Yeah. Really wonderful crew. Lots of people helped us. Robin, who messaged earlier, she helped us on it. Like so many people helped us make the show happen.
Yeah, and it's just, and I think what we really like, we had so much fun. All of us, like the whole crew, had fun just filming that way. Yeah. Actually, physically going onto a half-scale set and set dressing that little teacups,
little everything.
So I think for the future, we just want to continue doing that because it's fun.
Before we go too far, am I allowed to ask you when your puppet crush was? I'm sure this has come up on a previous podcast, but I'm like, when was yours? Like what? Because you went from figure skating to theater to puppets. So what happened?
It's funny how I get hooked by giant puppetry, like the fact that it's big stuff. But I know that when I was a kid, I used to watch a lot of puppetry. Yeah. But for me, I don't know, it was kind of like the fiction was over the technicality. But right. When you grow up and you see, I saw those giant puppets manipulated by kids. I just connect the dots, and I feel like, okay, the kids love and the passion and all of that. So I think puppetry could change the world. So
Yeah, definitely.
that's my humble answer to this question.
But the stuff that you love, you said the most is like
It's
really
big puppets. And obviously,
Yeah.
like
what,
theater
stuff
puppets
you've
and
done.
extensions
big
of the
puppets.
body, like
Yeah.
some of those. I mean, there's so many examples. Of course, we could sit here forever listing all the like giant oh geez, I'm so sorry, it's my seasonal allergies. Giant puppets that we've seen, like that are they play with what you're seeing, right? You look at it and you don't, what you're actually seeing is something totally different than what the performer is actually doing. It's
like how
I think it's because I've done a lot of figure skating, and it's kind of an art form that you have to be big because it's an ice ring, and it's so I think that's kind of a why I love giant stuff. And it's a kind of personality also going
for sure.
It's true. And that is like we both have done some level of theater in the past, and there's such a enjoyment to doing that kind of thing too, where you're doing it so, as you said, so big. Because everything about film is, especially the way we do it, is small, but like there's something so joyful about also doing it really big.
Yeah, for sure. And
you used to do synchronized swimming.
I did,
right.
I did do swimming
for years. So there's a little connection like that. You're big for that.
It's
right?
performance art, exactly, and it's precision, and I think that's the thing about puppetry too, is it can be a very precise art form. Much like figure skating, much like synchronized swimming, but you also have a lot of freedom there to play around.
Yes, totally. That's so cool. And I want to ask you if you feel that puppetry going up, is it more popular than in the past? How do you see the popularity of the art form? How it goes on your side?
Up and down. It's like like because, and I think like everything's like that, right? Things get more, they come and they go, and it's funny because when we started making Miikshi 4 years ago, but we should mention this, we were making Miikshi in the back of a pizza shop. We started making Miikshi in a tiny room behind the pizza shop.
We made a couple short films.
Yeah, where like pizzas would cross the frame. So we'd be filming the episode, and like the owner would be going for a delivery, and he'd be taking the pizza through the frame. So this is how we started. And
but 4 years ago, in terms of like whether people
when we were trying to pitch the show to broadcasters, to try to get people interested, everyone said no puppets, we're not doing puppets. And if you look today, it's different. Like the broadcasters are saying maybe puppets, let's see, what do you have, right? And so, and you've got Waffles and Mochi on Netflix. You've got I'm blanking on the name right now, the Mr. Rogers show that PBS is doing. There's a bunch of puppet stuff that's being made right now. So it in 4 years it changed. And that's really exciting.
I mean, and I think obviously the world changed a lot in 4 years, and I think what people are looking for now is that nostalgia factor, is that sort of, just take me back to the simpler time when I was a child watching puppet shows on a Saturday morning.
And it's funny you say nostalgia, because I think for maybe parents that there would definitely be that, but for a young kid, a 4-year-old who's never seen this before, they won't have a direct nostalgic reaction.
No, but I mean, in terms of broadcaster buy-in.
Oh yes,
in terms of what else think that
the people in charge the people in charge absolutely. That's who makes the decisions.
But no, absolutely. And no, I agree that kids like Thunderbirds is a great example of this. It was a show made in the 1960s,
still popular now
with kids, and they have no idea that it's 50 years old.
Yes.
So I think if you make something, and you have enough resources to make it a certain way, it can really last a long time. But so I guess to answer your question, it comes and goes. I think right now we're in a.
It's a good time. I think it's a good time for puppets on TV.
We wouldn't for a second say that CG shows, CGI, which is so prevalent right now. We wouldn't say it's bad in any way. I think, it was such like CG kind of took over. Of course, like when we were kids, it was puppets and 2D like classical animation. And then
Yeah.
as we got older, there was just CGI everywhere. And now there's so much of it.
It was a new technology, and I think people got enamored and got excited about what they could do.
And there's so many beautiful shows made in it.
Absolutely.
I think now, once we did so much
Gotten
of
it out
it,
of our system.
yeah, now we can have more variety. We can have a puppet show, we can have a CGI show.
Or you can integrate them.
Yeah, or you can integrate them, yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, like Dark Crystal have done.
Yeah.
They integrate both.
Yeah.
So interesting. I love this interview. I think we have so much fun, and we have curious audience watching. So tell me more about Monday, because you're launching, and we have also Wesley who asked, I can't wait to watch it.
Oh, thank you, Wesley. Thank you. Thanks for tuning in. Thank you.
Okay, well, Raman, to tell you more about Monday. So on Monday, Miikshi, 10 brand new episodes of Miikshi will be launching on tvokids.com.
It's streaming. It's streaming.
Yeah,
so you don't need a TV to watch it. Some people have been going, oh, am I going to be able to watch it? You don't need a TV. It's going to be...
Kids has its own digital platform. So tvokids.com is where you can watch it.
And then also it will be for anybody who's not in Canada, because TVO is only for Canada. You'll be able to watch it on YouTube. And the links will be on our social media. We'll send it to you, Caroline, when when it's out on Monday. But you'll be able to watch it on YouTube. So anywhere you are in the world, you will be able to watch
all
Miikshi
10 episodes of Miikshi
having her misadventures, her scientific misadventures. She's an inventor. Things are always going crazy in the town she lives in.
She's got a jet plane
that launches off the roof of her apartment. So, and she's very shy and awkward. So that's and she's wearing her seatbelt right now for safety.
For safety.
Yeah.
Safety first with Miikshi.
Yeah. So please, on Monday, definitely wherever you are in the world. Again, if you're in Canada, watch it on tvokids.com. And if you're anywhere else, including in Canada, anywhere in the world, you can watch it on YouTube.
Yeah.
Shaftesbury Kids.
And Rubina just put the address, TVO Kids.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thanks, Robin.
So
thank you.
Yeah,
thank you.
It's not there right now. So if you go there now, you won't see it. But on Monday it will be there. Yeah. And we should mention Shaftesbury Kids on YouTube.